fight. They've signalled straight out, haven't they, that they're going to brawl it all the way to the end, assuming the cars go the distance, the brakes do their job and the drivers keep their cool. Lap 8 of 22. Take a look at our Shell Helix race score and see where they're positioned. On the track at the moment, Seaton and Tratt at 1 and 2, but they haven't done their compulsory pit stops. So effectively our race leader is Greg Murphy, then Craig Lowndes, Marcus Ambrose, Mark Scaife, John Bowe and Brad Jones are all fighting it out. This is the Gillette V8 Supercar Challenge, the doubleheader. We are racing. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Honda Indy 300 on Network 10, live and exclusive. And problems in the ad brake for the 00 Motorsport Ford Falcon of Craig Lowndes. Dropped 3 positions, no technical problems. Mark, you think he might have missed a gear?
Not quite sure what happened there, but he certainly got swamped coming out. There he is there. At the Honda chicane on turn 1. And he just stopped in the middle there. He got swamped by a few, well, we lost 3 positions. So not quite sure what happened to Lowndes. We're still trying to find out from the team. But that's put him right down the order.
Yeah, it wasn't a bingle, that replay that you saw. Just saw him completely miss the turn. So something in the cockpit went awry, and I heard Oscar Fiorinotto telling Craig to keep his cool. Now Glenn Seaton has come in for his compulsory pit stop. There's only one other man out there.
Anthony Tratt, he just swept past our commentary box. So Tratt staying out there. Here comes Seaton. Yeah,
you understand that Lowndes actually did miss a gear, and instead of copping the penalty, he corrected his position. Brad?
Well, Garth Tander has just been served a stop-go penalty for jumping the curbs, Gary. What a horrible finish to what was a good start to the weekend.
Grant, I mean, what can you do about it? The rule is not a good rule. I suppose they've got to enforce it, but I mean, if you're going to pass someone from time to time in a race, you're going to have to make a move. And I think people have really got to decide whether they want a race or whether they want a procession. I know we don't need a whole lot of grief and crashes and what have you, but I think these guys are a whisker trigger happy, to be quite honest.
It is a tough one to swallow, Gary. Hard luck.
No, you just got to cop it sweet.
That's a drive-through penalty that they were talking about. So Garth Tander now comes out with a whole head full of steam, and Mark Larkham in the Orcon Ford is unfortunately the beneficiary of that, probably on the other side, because he's got this Valvoline Cummins Commodore, which has got plenty of speed. We know that because he qualified first, and now ahead of steam. He's going to take him on at AAPT turn 3, side by side. They get through without any problems.
Well, as a result of that problem for Craig Lowndes, that moves Marcus Ambrose up. Anthony Tratt is still running second on the road, but he's still going to make his compulsory stop. Murphy's already overtaken him. There's Murphy, Tratt, Ambrose, Scaife, John Bowe. Lowndes now back in 6th. Brad Jones in 7th. Stephen Richards in 8th. Mark Weiner in 9th. And Ingle back there in 10th. Ooh, bit of a moment there for Larkham. Here comes Marcus Ambrose. He was the fastest car on the track on lap 10. So he has really got the hammer down. 151.6.
Okay.
So time's really starting to tumble here.
2.5, Marcus. 2.5.
Take a look at the telemetry there. 2.5 is his team telling him that's the gap between him and Greg Murphy. So 2.5 seconds. Marcus Ambrose means that Murphy is a little bit further up the road.
Well, they're flying, those two, Matty. 51.8 for Murphy, 51.6 for Ambrose. So that lap record, the 153.7 set by Lowndes, has been shattered.
Absolutely blasted. Only lasted 3 laps before it went. We knew that was going to happen. I was just watching the speed there on the Pertec number 4, and as he came down into turn 3, he got it up past 220, 225 kilometres an hour. He should push around 240 here up the Esplanade before he gets onto Conica Corner.
So Ambrose now officially has the new lap record of 51.6. Let's check out the Nintendo replay. Big moment for John Bowe. Oh, he's lost it too. That's down at Falcon Turn. Fortunately, there's tyres on the lining the concrete wall there to reduce the blow, but there's John Bowe back in action. You can see the result of that collision, though. There has been some damage to the back of the bodywork.
And he's also got some damage on the left-hand side from the other corner at that turn, the other inside corner, when he had the touch-up with... Oh, and there's the back of his car just flicked off. Look at that. Wow, some panel just flicked right off the rear of his car. Managed to miss the other car behind him, and these guys are going to have to avoid it. We're could see it after he touched up the wall at turn 8. Thankfully, it's just out of the way. So, bits and pieces falling off John Bowes, 888 Aussie Mail Ford Falcon. We're past the halfway mark. Look at Marcus Ambrose, he's moved up 4 positions. Brad Jones has moved up 6 positions. Also got another incident and a safety car. So when we come back, we'll be under yellow flag conditions. This is Supercar Saturday at Surfers Paradise, lap 13 of 22. Let's hang on to that brake because it's all unfolding here. Russell Ingall is out of the car, and he's out of the car quickly. He was really bitten that concrete wall hard. Look at it sandwiched up there like somebody super glued him together.
Well, they say he makes that Commodore pretty wide. Look how narrow it is now. That was a big hit. Concrete walls, unyielding. Each one of those blocks weighs 4.5 tonnes. There's over 2,300 of them lining this street circuit. And there's so many drivers have found out.
And watch this.
Merciless. Watch
John Bowes come.
Yep.
Whooshka, off it goes out the back, and the cat Ford behind him of Greg Ritter managed to avoid all that. The rear was just left dangling on the road. It's not the first time that he's lost that piece of the car. He did it a few rounds ago as well, had it trailing behind him. This will give you another view of the incident involving Russell Ingall and one of the Holden Racing Team Commodores. And this will be the squash up. Oh, look at that. Both cars and slam over to the left-hand side. Concrete versus car, and the concrete will win every time. He was in a position there where the Castrol team didn't really know what was going on, and we understand that our pit reporter Daryl Beattie had to break the news to the Perkins race team, so car 8 is gone. That's the end of that one. Thankfully, we held on. We didn't have to go to that break because it all happened right in front of our eyes. This is the race score. Greg Murphy leads the way. Marcus Ambrose is there in second. Mark Skate in third. Lowndes is fourth. Jones fifth. John Bowes sixth. And you've got Stephen Richards and Jason Barguana. So the victims are starting to fall. The Gillette V8 Supercar Challenge rolls on right after this. Well, the safety car is still out on the circuit. It allows us to give you a rundown on the field as they come under the bridge down the main straight. Greg Murphy, Marcus Ambrose, Mark Skate, Craig Lowndes, Brad Jones. That is your top 5. The reason why the safety car is out is this. Now keep your eyes. Look at Jason Wright on the right. He's got no room to move. He goes straight across the curb. Now watch this for a chain reaction. See the Foster sign on the right-hand side of your screen? That's where both of these cars are headed at the moment. The Holden Racing Team number 2 hits it first, bang, then hits Ingall, whammo, goes straight into the concrete barrier, completely moves it.
Jeez, that was a very, very hard hit. Think of the weight of that fence and the fact that he moved it and rattled it like a piece of tin.
See what the news is from HRT. Daryl Beattie?
Jeff, how do you see the situation with Bridie and Russell?
It's hard to know, Daryl. I mean, we had a look at the replay, I suppose everyone else has, but we've spoken to him while the safety car's out, and he said for some reason Russell had lost some time, and he got up beside him as they entered that chicane over the back there, and they both went in it together, so he had to actually mount the curb to give him some room, and then they went through, and Russell had a bit of a slide, and then on the exit of the corner, Russell then continued to sort of run out wide, and with Jason behind him, he had nowhere to go other than he would have went head on into the wall or try and, you know, hold there, and obviously, you know, it's been shot, Russell shot straight across the track and he's hit the wall, but certainly wasn't a lot of racing room with, you know, Jason did the best he could, that's what he's telling us, but I mean, that's only what we've seen on TV.
We've got a restart here now, the boys are bunched up. I think Scafey can match the times of those two guys in front of him.
Yeah, I think he can, Daryl. I mean, it's all about positioning yourself for tomorrow, and you know, for the sake of one spot, it's probably not worth the risk around this concrete jungle. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, there's still 10 laps to go. The break will give everyone's tyres another bit of a freshen up, so they'll get back to good speed again. I really think it's probably be more conservative and bring the thing home rather than with any more scratches on it.
Did you guys ask him to move over so you could have a look at the tyres?
No, we were more concerned on Jason's car if the guard was rubbing, but no, Mark said they're fine. The biggest thing we're finding here is the brakes. I mean, if you really drive them hard, you know, the pedals are going away. So it's just a matter of driving to the pedal limit and the tyres and see if you can sort of get down to the last couple of laps and then maybe have a go if your car's in good nick.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
Jeff Gregg talking to Daryl Beattie as the cars continue out on this safety car lap. We'll take a breather, get our hands right, see where they're at, come back and rejoin the race. That's Russell Ingall's car number 8, still waiting to be loaded up, shipped out of there. Well, you haven't missed a thing in the Gillette V8 Supercar Challenge because the Monroe safety car is still out there. They're having a few problems getting rid of Russell Ingall's machine. The reason why is the force that he hit that concrete barrier was like metal to a magnet. It snapped the front of the car and the whole steering's gone basically. That's why they're having a bit of trouble getting it on the truck to bring it back. Guys are there doing their best and they're getting some help from the enforcer. Some news out of pit lane, Grant Denyer.
Yeah, any hint of brake problems now should be pretty much gone. This is the perfect opportunity to really give those brakes a second wind and allow them to sprint all the way home. Interesting to listen to Craig Lowndes. He feels that despite his position on the road at the moment, that the car is quite taily, and just noting the observation skills of his engineer, Oscar Fionato. He was looking at the television and reporting to Craig. Craig, I think the car is falling over a little bit in the rear, and he said, yes, it is. So they've made an adjustment with the bars to stiffen it up, but boy, these guys really do have sharp eyes.
While you were talking there, Grant, we had a great look inside the cockpit of the Super Cheap Auto Racing Ford of Stephen Ellery, car 31. Take a look at this camera. I tell you, this is impossible to do unless you're a tiny little camera because there's not a lot of room back there.
A tiny little cameraman.
A tiny little cameraman, yeah. Mini-me's in the back seat of the Super Cheap car. It's great the view. It's on an extension system, if you like. It lets us track around the car. What a view. Rusty?
Guys, just spoken to Kmart crew chief Robbie Crawford and their chief engineer Eric Pender. They tell me the numbers are all good for car 51 at the moment. All they want to do is to get Murph to bring it home. The major radio chat that's been going on during this safety car period to drivers seems to have been to use it effectively to cool brakes and get everything back down to a nice temperature for the run to the flag.
You know what, Rusty, we had a chat to the Kmart guys the other day, and the one thing they were looking forward to was an event-free race for Murph and Todd Kelly. And when you think back to the last 2 rounds, the big ones, Queensland 500 and Bathurst,
oh, now look at the damage.
Bad luck, and that's the reason why. Look at that. Russell Ingall, car 8, a total mess. The concrete won that battle in a big way. What we'll do is we will stay here on the Gold Coast. We'll take you through to the end of this race, and then we'll take you to our news service and, of course, Sports Tonight after that. So stay with us. We're going to be here until the checkered flag of the V8 Supercar Challenge. Greg Murphy at the moment, sorry Marco, has 100 points in the bag if he can stay out the front.
Lights are out on the safety car, so we're going back to racing this lap. Keep in mind, 75% of the race distance has now been completed, so race director Tim Schenken could actually stop this race if he so chooses, if there's another red flag incident.
He could call it off. You've got to be wary on the lap coming back after the safety car because everybody's jumping, everybody's nervous. Even the mob are nervous.